Kiera, you're muted.
Oops, I'm sorry. Again, my name is Kiara Look, and I'm sorry I was on mute. I'm the CDBG administrator for the city of Conway, and this is our 2016 through 2020 CDBG Consolidated Plan Amendment virtual meeting. So before we get started, I want to talk about what is CDBG. So the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, is one of the longest running programs of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It funds local community development activities such as affordable housing, anti-poverty programs, and infrastructure development. CDBG eligible activities are initiated as well as developed by the state and local level based on a community's needs, priorities, and benefits. So now that I've talked about kind of what CDBG is, I want to talk about what we're doing in the city of Conway with our CDBG funding. And so one of those CDBG projects is a building located at 1116 Gum Street. This is actually the future home of an emergency shelter. It will be the first in the city of Conway, and this vacant office building was purchased in 2019 with CDBG funding. In addition to the emergency housing, we also have CDBG projects that go with affordable housing. So Old Conway Village, and this is a public-private partnership that we had with DHTC Development. It allowed for 44 homes to be constructed, 36 of which were intended for low to moderate income persons. And we have invested over $1.3 million into the historic Pine Street revitalization to prepare for affordable housing. In conjunction with that affordable housing project, we also have the Spruce Street Cottage development. And this was also a public-private partnership that we had with Summerwood Inc. out of North Little Rock to develop additional affordable housing and promote home ownership. So Old Conway Village is actually tenant-based, and Spruce Street Cottage development, it will be owner-occupied. So we want to promote home ownership as well as paths to home ownership with both of these affordable housing projects. And last but not least, with our projects, we have our Fifth Avenue splash pad and park improvements. And this was a public project to reinvest in the Fifth Avenue Park. It's located in a low to moderate income area in our city. The park improvements included new restrooms, the addition of a splash pad, additional parking, pavilion updates, as well as playground equipment. And in 2020, we plan to add additional playground equipment, sidewalks, a new pavilion, as well as park benches. In addition to the projects that we fund, we also have services. So the city of Conway does not have a public transportation system. So we fund agencies who transport their clientele. A lot of their clientele are low to moderate income persons. Some of those agencies include Boys and Girls Club of Central Arkansas, Bethlehem House, Independent Living Services, Faulkner County Council on Aging, Conway Ministry Center, Haven House, Young Empowered Sisters, Milestones Inc., and Women's Shelter of Central Arkansas. So we went over the overview of CDBG, what it is, the projects that we funded for the city of Conway. And so now I want to talk about the CDBG CARES Act funding. As you know, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And so to respond to that and prepare for that, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant has notified the city of Conway that it will receive an allocation of $269,734 to be used to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus. And again, this money is different than our typical entitlement funding that we get. This money will only be used for any activity related to COVID-19. So we have a consolidated plan. That's our roadmap. And that is what we work out of every single year. We do annual action plans, but before we do that, we have to have a 5-year roadmap as to where we're going to go. And so this consolidated plan was drafted in 2016, and this is the last year actually of the consolidated plan. It's 2020. And our main objectives in that initial draft of this consolidated plan was repair and maintain streets and sidewalks, enhance the capacity of the city's drainage and stormwater runoff systems, increase the supply of affordable, suitable housing, as well as provision of additional community facilities and public services. Again, this is what we work out of every single year. This is how we choose the projects, the services that we're funding is through this consolidated plan. So we had to, of course, to be able to accommodate the funding that we'll be receiving through the CARES Act, we had to implement that into our consolidated plan. And so we had to add an objective, which is prevent and respond to the coronavirus or COVID-19 public health crisis. And that will include the services that go into that will include a emergency grant program or I'm sorry, a small business emergency grant program and a rental and utility assistance program for those who have suffered financial impact through COVID-19. We are proposing these two activities, the small business emergency grant program. There have been a lot of local businesses that have seen the financial effects of COVID-19, and we want to be able to have a program and funding that they can apply for to be able to help them through that, as well as individuals in the city of Conway, those again who have felt the effects of COVID-19 financially, and we have seen those unemployment rates go up. And so we want to be able to help with rental and a utility assistance program. And these are just proposed amendments. We still have to get this approved by HUD, and this is the first step in doing so, is holding the virtual meeting as well as drafting that up. So the spread of the coronavirus has created an urgent and widespread public health crisis in which cities, counties, states, federal agencies must work together to address needs affecting public health and safety. In that urgent need, there's typically a 15% cap on the funding that we can use for public services. Well, that has been suspended due to, again, this urgent need of being able or needing to spend this money to respond to COVID-19. So before I move on to the last slide, I wanted to give anyone who had question a time to ask that to me, because we are live. So any questions for me, I'll give you a few moments to do so. Okay. So lastly, if you do have any questions or comments, we typically have a 30-day comment period for amendments. However, again, the urgency that we need to be able to spend the money, that those things have been expedited. And so we've had a 5-day comment period, and we are still receiving comments for the proposed amendment until 4:00 today. Any comments or questions, please email me at kiera.oluakin@conwayarkansas.gov.